In the beginning, there was darkness, and then, more than a week later, Mr. Cole showed up and said,
"Let there be the IHRPG."
and happiness came into the world.
The NHS Council Discord server was not always called the NHS Council Discord server. Some archaeology shows us that it used to be called IHRPG and had a very different formatting. It was originally created to be a server for like 7-ish kids from Mr. Cole's class to do research and prepare for battle with the Chronivore, a strange evil space lizard, centipede, scorpion, snake, alarm clock hybrid, which is pretty much Thanos, except it wants to kill 110% of life in the universe, and whose intentions are nearly as bad as my editing skills. So one could tell from the first session of the IHRPG in Mr. Cole's class that his class was going to be pretty lit. Sadly, when it comes to archaeological research, we have been severely impeded by the nuking of General. But luckily for us, the memes channel was somehow never nuked. With this information, we can place the oldest recoverable post at the 30th of August in 2019. It was an IHRPG meme, as can be expected from an IHRPG server. We know this post was made sometime after the server itself was created or established, but it is safe to assume that the server was generated sometime in August. It was not long after the server's creation that the first person was banned on September 9th. Ironically enough, it wasn't for rule breaking, it was because they requested to be banned. Those were simpler times. Back before I had learned too much about Canada or Sweden. Back when the most active users were Fingator and Sans Undertale. This time period lasted for quite some time, with the majority of posting revolving solely around the IHRPG or Marshall dumping memes. But things could not stay like this forever. Eventually, the server would begin to decline.
December 4th, the Dark Age peaks.
IHRPG was already low on activity, with spikes only being seen when Mr. Cole announced a new episode of the IHRPG. More than 40% of the posts, at times, were merely Marshall dumping memes. Admittedly, a lot of our information comes from the memes channel, so this might not be all that accurate. Marshall, only wishing for an audience to show his memes, joins Info and Rants, a new server. Being more generalist in nature, it quickly began to thrive. But there was one fateful issue. Marshall's greatest nemesis, the anti-spam bot, was on this server, and this prevented those meme dumps.
December 16th, 2019. The spark of revival is born.
After being prevented from speaking by the anti-spam bot for posting too many memes in the memes category, Marshall begins posting memes in other categories as an attempt to subvert the anti-spam bot. He is muted for this. This is probably one of the most influential acts of moderation in server history, seeing as had this not occurred, NHS Council, as we know it, would have never been created. It happens that while he was muted, Marshall goes into the DMs with a friend, and everything changes. Previously, Marshall was fine with letting the IHRPG server die, but now it was a competition, a betrayal. Even if the competition isn't legitimate, only the illusion is needed to provide motivation. Bulk of revival begins. It was described as retaking the Holy Land for those who need context behind the status. Together, they begin renovating the server. They devise a means of growing faster than info and rants, the key being a more active recruitment program. Info and rants actively had the upper hand on GameBots, so a myriad of new bots were added to the new NHS Council Discord server. The IHRPG channels were moved to their own specific category, and the goal was set: gain more members than info and rants. The target was 21 members, and it was getting higher every day. Could be done. But with few connections, it would be difficult. But as all of you who are watching this through the YouTube channel know, it certainly wasn't impossible. The very existence of NHS Council as a server is the result of countless improbabilities and coincidences, and it's still growing and evolving today. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us and making this whole thing so much fun. I would like to thank Mr. Cole for inspiring me to make these YouTube videos and to make the server, and for getting so many kids interested in learning. Also, shout out to AspenBB_23 for being the only person in server history, other than myself, to ever reach level 40, which is a quite difficult task. So, the next video is going to be about sibling and offshoot servers. So, if you've made a server that is largely made up of the kids from NHS Council, or made it sometime after this, or with any influence from us, send me an invite link so I can add them to the video.